Since retiring from the public's eye, I had resigned myself to a life of solitude. For 2 years, I started my day watching Kung Fu theater. Days, then weeks blurred into one long, greasy telethon. The next thing I know, some government goons show up at my place. It seems they've caught a whiff of old Mr. Sunshine himself, Rez. He's back in the media dimension, and they think I'm crazy enough to go back in after him. So they whisked me away to Interrogation 101. They play rough. Start giving me the business. I give a little back. So we negotiate a little something to cover my expenses. They throw in one of those secret agent suits, and I tell them we got a deal. Looks like I'm headed back into the media dimension. It's gonna be deja ouch all over again.
It's tail time.
Hello everybody, Treecks here and welcome to Gex Enter the Gecko, the second part in the Gex series. If you remember correctly, a while ago I actually uploaded a project about a little lizard, Gex. The lizard that is actually addicted to television, has a very wide knowledge of everything media involved, and that actually got him dragged into the media dimension, where the evil Rez was actually trying to make a mascot out of Gex. But after his evil plans got thwarted, Rez has returned, as the opening cutscene of the PlayStation version just showed off. And Gex needs to return to the media dimension to take him on a second time. However, this time it's going to be different. This is going to be a 3D adventure, like I promised after the first Gex project. The second Gex game, Enter the Gecko, is actually a 3D platformer, which did not just release on the PlayStation, it also got a release on the Nintendo 64. And that is indeed where I will be playing it. However, this is also still going to be a PlayStation project. And that is in fact the whole reason why the opening cutscene was in this video. Because the Nintendo 64 version actually does not have that. The PlayStation version does. And that is how I'm planning to actually cover this game. I will play the Nintendo 64 version for the most part, because that was in fact the first version of the game I actually had. And also the one that actually looks best. I'm forced, because of reasons, to record this game from emulator. And the Nintendo 64 version actually emulates better than the PlayStation version. And therefore I'm going to focus on the N64 version a little bit more, but not exclusively. And that is because this game did release on both of the consoles. However, there are some differences between the two. And everything that is not present in the N64 version, but is in the PlayStation version, I will actually be covering there. So this is going to be a dual project. The first Let's Play that I'm going to do, that is actually going to be a dual project, where two versions of the same game are going to be played through each other, which is easily done because of the fact that I own both of the versions, and also something that is recommended to do if I'm going for 100% coverage, because both of the versions actually have exclusive content. It's not a whole lot, but there are some things that are only present in the PlayStation version, and there's even one thing that is only present in the N64 version. And that is how I will be covering this game. Oh, and apparently I'm forced to get started, so let's do that by going over some options first. If we pause the game, we can go to options. Here we can actually change up a couple of simple things, like the music, the voices. Dana Gold actually returns as the voice of Gex, with his quirky and silly little remarks, referencing a lot of television related business. We can actually switch around the camera. Automatic camera will always keep the camera behind you. Manual will make you use the C buttons in order to do so. And semi-automatic is in between that. The camera does pan around behind you, but not instantly. And that is usually the standard way to go. So I'll keep it on semi-automatic. But manual is also a pretty recommended way to play. That way you can actually switch around the camera yourself if you would like. Controller pack I don't have to bother, that's safe options. But anyway, let's get started. We have returned to the media dimension, this time in 3D. And therefore this game is going to play out a lot differently than the first time. We can use the analog stick to actually run around. That is pretty predictable. The Z button is actually used to crouch. Not very practical on its own, in all honesty. Like I explained a moment ago with the options, we can use the C buttons in order to sway the camera around. Or when it's on semi-automatic, you can also wait until it happens on its own. As you can see here. If you move around to a certain location and don't move anymore, eventually the camera will move behind you on its own, but you can also manually rotate it. Okay, and let's not forget about one of the most important controls, jumping. Gex is still a gecko after all, and knows how to jump. You can actually press A again while touching the floor to do a higher bounce. It's very awesome to use. The B button is our attack, the tail whip. Something Dana Gold can't shut up about. Watch me use my tail to kick your butt. And in fact, this tail whip you can also use to get these question marks. These are actually hints about the game. They're pretty much all the things I'm telling you right now. But the game actually also explains them, as you can see. Although this is a new one, we can press the R button when a fly is buzzing around to eat it. Yeah, we're still a gecko, we still have our tongue. And this game also has bugs, which we can eat, just like in the first game. And we press R in order to initiate our tongue. And trust me, there's nothing more dangerous to a lizard than a tongue. Okay, here's another one. Let's go see what you have to say. Press and hold the top C button and use the control stick to look in all directions. Okay, we have a first person mode, it seems. The C up button is used in order to look around like this. There's not a whole lot of things to see in an empty skybox. That is how that works. Should be something more over here. Yeah, there's another one. You can climb some walls. Also returning from the first Gex game, the ability to climb walls. We're a gecko after all, and if you've been studying your biology, you know what the main trait of geckos is. They can actually cling onto walls. However, because of this being a 3D platformer, it's actually only limited to certain types of walls. So be careful. And the final hint this game can tell us, while running, hold down the Z button, and that was way too quick, and press jump to perform a flying karate kick. Oh yeah, how could I forget about that? It's one of my favorite moves in this game. If we jump while holding the Z button, this will happen. Karate kick Gex. And he comes in tail first. Good luck surviving that, Raz. Okay, and that should be everything control-wise, so let's go focus on how the game actually progresses. Get 3 red remotes to visit Gilligex Isle. Here we actually find a stage, however it is a locked stage. 3 red remotes are required in order to enter this. What are red remotes, you might ask? Just like in the first Gex game, we are actually focusing on collecting remotes. However, it does work a little bit differently in this game. As you can see, there are 3 types of remotes in this game. The red ones, depicted all the way to the left. Silver ones, which are a little bit more special. And we have gold ones, which are especially well hidden. If we bother to go further into the game stats, we can actually find out these are the stages of this game, the worlds. All of them actually have red remotes to find, and also 2 silver remotes, as you can see. And some special levels only hold golden remotes. So that is how it's going to work in this game. Normal levels have red and silver remotes. The special and boss stages will have golden ones. The first boss stage is obviously locked. However, the first normal stage is already open. Out of Toon is usually depicted as the first one, even in our game stats. So that is what we'll be playing first. Let's lick our way into Toon TV, Out of Toon. As you can see, there are 3 missions to clear. All 3 of them will actually lead to a red remote. Let's just do them in order. Whenever selecting a mission, you will get a little bit of a hint screen indicating where the red remote is, and we can get started. As you may expect, all of the stages in this game, just like in the first one, are actually going to be themed after famous television genres, in this case cartoons. What a better way to get started with those. While being busy in all of these stages, you will actually find a certain type of collectible here. In this case actually carrots. But it's not always going to be carrots, so I'm not going to call them the carrot collectible. but these main collectibles in the levels you're going to want to bring along as well. And here we get introduced to the first bugs. Whenever we break a TV holding a bug, that bug will start flying around us, and we can eat it with R in order to restore some health. We have 4 health in this game, as you can see, depicted by Gecko paws, the most cute thing that is in existence. A gecko paw. Okay, let's go focus on collecting all of these carrots first. It's also something we're going to want to do for 100%. Ouch, by the way. Maybe I should hammer you. Okay, almost done. Because once we get 30, as you can see, we receive a 1-up. And the collectibles actually change up into something new. In this case, cans. And yes, we're also going to want to collect these things. Until they change up into a new collectible as well. Killing enemies is also usually a very viable way to get these collectibles. You should also have a couple. We can jump on this guy with our bounce attack in order to make him spit out a couple of collectibles. And let's move back up again. Okay, be careful for the piranha in the water here. Hard to see, but that does not mean that he isn't there. Oh, let's not fall. Let's climb our way to the top over here. Let's head over to the right over here. Let's first make sure we have enough of these cans. Okay, and the second collectible, as you can see, requires 40. And once you've got those, the collectible will actually change into a new type again. And this is actually going to be the final one. And we'll be finding it in Wabbit Season. Written by Elmer Fudd personally, it looks like. Okay, awesome. We're a bunny rabbit now. And I was talking about how gecko paws are the most cute thing ever. A gecko wearing a bunny suit is definitely not cute. Okay, apparently the mailbox does not spit out these things forever. It would have been too easy. Oh, new type of bug. A purple one. These we can obviously also eat. The purple ones are the extra lives in this game. Eat one and you will get an extra life. Okay, be careful for the bear traps here. Obviously they hurt you. Don't have to state the obvious, but I'm still going to. Ah, and here's Elmer Fudd himself. At least in the best way, Midway was able to actually make it look like Elmer Fudd without actually violating copyright rules. But it is pretty obvious that is what he's supposed to represent. Okay, here's another bug. I'm not full health, so I'm going to eat this one. But whenever I get one, the moment I'm full health, I can actually start explaining another way you can actually use these bugs. But not quite yet. I'm getting hit way too much. Okay, we've reached 30 of these TNT detonators, which is not enough, obviously. The first one required 30, the second one 40, so you can imagine the third one is going to require 50. And that should not be a problem, because there's still one more room to do before we reach the red remote. Would be nice if I can actually find some health in the meantime. I am on my last health. Okay, the checkered television screens are actually the checkpoints in this game, so if you die you can actually restart from this point.
Oh no, I'm too young to have a second childhood.
Yeah, that's a remark he made in the first game also. I'm too young to have a second childhood. And that has not changed. In the second game we're still too young. We're a young little lizard. Okay, finally some health. So I can live. It does not matter if I get blown off, because that does not hurt me. But indeed, it reminds me, there's indeed some wind mechanics on these bridges, so do be careful. It is all meant to blow you off. Oh, camera. Stay with me here. Okay, in here brings us to 48, and here we have 50. And as you can see, once we collect 50 of the third type of collectible, we receive a silver remote. That is one of the ways to get a silver remote in every single stage. Oh, and don't be too afraid for this railroad crossing. It actually leads nowhere. a very cartoony way to actually deal with the railroad crossing. But we finally arrived at the point where we wanted to be. The hint screen at the beginning of the stage actually showed off this area. This is indeed where we want to be. Here we will find the first red remote, received for completing the missions in all of the worlds. And do remember, in the meantime, also be on the lookout for silver remotes. Every single stage also have 2 of those. And one way to get them, dang it, is to collect all of the collectibles. 30 for the first one, which is carrots in the case of Toon TV. The cans, the second time, 40 of them. And the third one, the TNT detonators, we need 50. And I will be calling them the main collectibles in all of the worlds, because in every single theme they are going to be different type of collectibles. There are only carrots, cans and TNTs in Toon TV. And speaking of Toon TV, it seems we have reached the end of mission number 1. We have jumped off the Teetering rock. All of our progress gets tallied up. We see we have the first red remote. We see we have the first silver remote. And that was our first trip into the first world. And after our mission is complete, we get a chance to save. We can get a password in order to continue, or just pick the control pack to save that way. And that is how the 3D platforming of Gex Enter the Gecko is going to work. We have time for mission 2. As you can see, we now have an X at the first mission, indicating we have it. But there's 2 more. More things to do. Now we're going to hunt the 2 Elmer Fuds. Because of copyright issues, they're not allowed to call him that, but I still will.
Forget about it.
Okay, stop referencing mafia movies and let's start moving in this cartoon world. Not going to be very difficult finding out what we need to do. It looks like this rock actually got someone at some point. Oh yeah, this is also a thing. The hard head areas. In all of the Toon TVs in this game, we can actually find checkered ground occasionally, and those areas we actually want to look out for because things fall from the sky. Be careful where you walk here. Oh. And also don't stand still in the same location for too long. Interesting locations. We'll be seeing more of those. But okay, before we start moving towards the next area where we can find the 2 hunters, we first want to go over here to this little hidden area. Where some ice is for some reason. Because it's lit around here. Nothing really to do here, but we can actually go over here to go up this moving wall. And that we can use to get to this secluded island where the second silver remote is. Remember how that works. 2 silver remotes in every single world. The first one we get by collecting all of the main collectibles, and the second one is always hidden in the world. Usually pretty hard to find because you don't get any hints about where it is, unlike the red remotes. But at least we have all of the silver remotes from the first Toon TV. Next up, finishing off the second mission. I'll keep this bug with me for the moment, because I only have 1 health, and if you actually have a bug hovering around you, that actually gives you immunity for 1 hit. Hopefully we're not able to show it off, because I would like to eat this bug, if you don't mind. But until I actually find some health, I would like to keep this one with me. So in case I do get hit, I don't die at least. But here we are, so let's go eat you up and get you around me for some extra health. The second hunter is all the way up here. We saw him the first time we passed through here. There you are. The most fun way to deal with these guys is actually this. Jump on top of them with your jump attack, so they get flattened for a moment. Really fun to play around with. After a couple of hits, they are out. 2 Elmer Fuds are running around here. And then the TV gets activated at the beginning of this room. Something we have passed a couple of times already, and that is actually how you activate it. Just complete mission 2. Killing all of the hunters. Now let's make our way there and let's call it an episode, because I can see my timer reaching 20 minutes, which is perfect. just about to end this mission. So we can also end this episode. Let's get one more extra life in the meantime. Because it's here, so why not? Oh. Did not expect that, but we got another extra life. And there we are, 2 missions completed. Both of the silver remotes also taken care of. Next time we can finish off Toon TV's first level. That is the introduction to Gex Enter the Gecko on the N64 for now. This entire stage is also present on the PlayStation, so I don't have to go switching to that version of the game quite yet. For this episode it was only necessary for the opening cutscene, and that is only present in that version. So next time we will continue here in the media dimension, collecting remotes in this 3D platformer, and try to get to our good old friend Rez, who has apparently escaped after dealing with him in the first game. He is back, but he's not the only one who's back. Our good old gecko lizard friend Gex and his smooth tongue has also returned. So we're dealing with him once again, and this time in a 3D environment. I bid you farewell and see you next episode. Treecks out!